This is Mile High.
Do I want to tell the story or do I want to show the message?
You've got a lot of work to do between Mile High.
The time has come where we can know
we have a responsibility, an ethical and moral responsibility.
We have to do it better in order to move people along.
Up, down, inside out.
And if you get your mind right,
it is not. It is a receiver of thought. Because love is my first technique.
It's now time for the show.
Welcome to the Mile High podcast. This is your host, Dr. Daniel Knowles, coming to you from an altitude of 5,280 feet, which is where you will come in June of 2021, June 3rd to 6th. You want to be there. And the other thing you want to do is make sure you never miss any Mile High Tech. So you hit subscribe, whether you are listening to this on YouTube or Stitcher or on iTunes or wherever it is. So you're always tuned in to Mile High Tech, and we see you in June of 2021. I am super thrilled to right now host on the podcast one of my favorite people in chiropractic. I've been a huge fan since I met him at Total Solutions many years ago. Dave Major. I almost said Dr. Dave Major. He should be a doctor. Dave
HDC.
Major,
Remember HDC? They've given me the honorary.
He's honorary DC. He's internationally accomplished author, speaker, motivator. Over the past, I don't know how many years he's been in chiropractic. He's been on the Discovery Channel. He's Health is Journey book and booklet has been amazing. He's helped us in our office for over a decade yearly. And I am so glad that you get to connect with Dave Major more. Thank you for joining us, Dave.
You got me, you stinker. You know me, I cry more than anybody. Thank you. Back to you. I got to get this right. Back to you. Blessings to Daniel. Dr. Daniel knows he's as much as an inspiration to me as I am to him. So thank you very much. I didn't know what to wear. I almost wanted to wear this.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
That worked. Okay, that's my shirt. This is my shirt I wear every time when I go out to do Boulder. Okay, and screenings for Dr. Danny. I got two of them.
That's so funny.
Anyways.
Well, you've trained so many of our team members over the years in their presentations for our office and spoke at Mile High last year. So, and right now, October, we are in National Chiropractic Health Month, so it's a great time for us to connect and talk about tech.
Nice. Yes, definitely. I'm excited.
So how did chiropractic change your life?
Well, real simple. I want to be a pro football player. You can tell all my football stuff here. Went to Toledo, was all-state quarterback. I don't know the quarterback now, but anyways, so went to Toledo, was playing football, and they moved me to fullback. I was doing pretty good, and really good, I guess. I hate to say it, I get blushy there. But anyways, blew my knee out, and for a 4.4 speed at 225, benching 500, I was heading that way, and it just, boom, went. So anyways, going back to whatever God had me do, I'm working, and my hands start going numb, and I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, I was coaching at the time, football, basketball, and at the junior high, and girls track, and I go, oh, I'll do some ultrasound, do some therapy, and fix it. And my buddy just graduated from Logan. I'll never forget. It was like 1980, 81, probably 80. And he goes, you need to adjust it. It's in your neck. I said, oh, you guys are a bunch of quacks. It's not in your neck. It's in my hand. He goes, well, the nerve goes here, down there. I go, whatever. So, and then I was like this. I couldn't hardly turn. So I go up by the Cleveland Clinic, and they do a needle EMG test back then. It was painful. Makes a grown man cry. They go, you got a neck problem. I go, what? My buddy just lined me up, said your structure's off, you know, structure determines function. And so I'm like, holy smokes, $900 test. He told me in 9 seconds what was going on. And I didn't want to be cut on, to be quite frank. I thought, oh, let's postpone that. I don't want surgery. I'll have my buddy crack my neck. So I said, hey, you want to crack my neck? He said, not a crack house, crack kills. I said, well, an adjustment, whatever that is. So about 10 visits into, I go, you know what? This is quackery. How long? He goes, well, it just takes time. He goes, it's a never-ending story. Keep coming. Well, that's about the 12th visit. 2 visits later, I had like that miraculous thing. I couldn't move, and all of a sudden, boom. I'm like, okay, you thought I was going to leave. Did you adjust me right for the first time? He goes, no, it takes time. Well, back then, they weren't educating like we are now, and like you educate. And I came up with my stress test because of that. If I would have known 3 years earlier when I fell off that ladder, I had a wrench now home, I was fixing the antenna. And that run, then I fractured 2 vertebrae, 5 and 6. And 3 years later, it made sense once I knew that. That's why I developed all these things to make people realize, wait a minute. This didn't happen. It's been there a long time. But if I say to you, hey, Danny, it's been there a long time, it's going to take a long time, that's fluff. But if I can, and I went 3 years times 365, holy smokes, over 1,000 days. If I would have hit a bad hole 3 years ago and not in the car of alignment, what do you think my tires would look like? What do you think my disc would look like? See, I talk in common sense. Chris, I rated high with Pat and Chris. I thought this is somebody's messing with me. There's no way. He goes, there's intelligence in taking the complicated and making it simple.
Right.
That's what I do with screening. You don't have to get all, you know, technology, the foramen opening and da-da-da, you know. You just say, basically, brain talks to the body. If there's a subluxation, and people are like, yeah, it feels like my body's not talking, my brain's not talking to my body. So make a long story short, I said, do you have anything for me to do? And he goes, we're doing these things called spinal screening. I go, where? He goes, at the mall. I go, you're checking people's spines? Well, I thought, you know, a gown, looking at their spine. He goes, no, you get on these scales, see if they're balanced, and then see these plumb lines, line them up. Kind of like, you know, like I was lining you up. He goes, oh, so like if you're 200 pounds, you should be 100 and 100, but if you're not, that's an indication the structure's off. I said, wow, it just light bulb. Outside, I go, if you're out on the outside, you're out on the inside. It was really so simple. I go down there and they had a marketing person, you know, with a degree. Here I'm a jock, a phys ed major. I'm like, look at that head tilt. Look at that kyphosis, lordosis. Look at that drop foot. I'm looking at people different. I don't know if you've ever did it, but I know you have. Have you ever bought a car you've never had before? You go, oh my gosh, there's Alexis, there's Alexis, there's Alexis.
Right.
Now that I bought it, I see.
Yep.
Well, now my mind is shifted. I even got gas. Funny story. Down there, didn't have gas. I got gas. And I said, I'm looking at this guy, you know, checking, you know, I'm checking him out, he's checking me out, I'm getting money for gas. He goes, what's wrong? I said, do you have scoliosis? He goes, how'd you know? I said, well, your head's this way, your shoulders are this way, and I looked at his belt buckles that way. He goes, yeah, but there's nothing you can do. And this is back in 1980. He said, you know anything about chiropractic? People out there listen. People just don't know what we know, and that's all it is. They're not against us, they just don't know what we do. And so that's why I just went home to Monica and said, Monica, I want to be a spinal screener. She goes, what? How much it take? I don't know. I need to get the message out that people are subluxated and they need chiropractic care. There's a whole misconception back there, as you realize, when you were a younger kid then, people were like, no, chiropractic. I said, hey, no. Now it's changed totally the other way. Hey, I go to a chiropractor. I've been thinking of going to a chiropractor. My friends go to chiropractor. Very little are against chiropractic. It's making sense. Why? Because of all the great chiropractors like yourself and our forefathers that have been out there talking and talking. When I was at Mile High, and I don't want to cry, I'm going to get through this quick. When Irene Gold said, I never met you, But I heard you say that my husband told me, I'm glad you were not a chiropractor, because at the time my kids were just getting into junior high, and I just like, I can't do it because you reach more people with chiropractic by what you've done than any chiropractor will ever in the history of chiropractic. And that's very humbling. I just love what I do, and I do what I love. So therefore, I quit my job. I worked for these guys. They had 4 clinics. We opened 8 more, so I ran 12 clinics. And then I went on my own and Patch and Temple. And, you know, helped develop the symmetry chart on the substation, that spike chart. That's mine. The feeling function poster is mine, showing that only 10% translucent pain. And it just, I knew that was the direction I was going into. And I realized if I would have went into football, I probably couldn't be talking right now. I wouldn't know who I am. I wouldn't know anything about chiropractic. Now my kids, my grandkids, it's just impacting our life all the way. I can't, after 35 years, someone said, when are you going to retire? I go, well, I looked in the Bible, and you know what it said? They go, what? I go, nothing. Nothing. Okay. I'm gonna tell the message as long as I can. I remember Reggie said that. And Oregon, he got done. He was going to leave Sunday morning. I'm closing up the program at the association, and I go, you look terrible. He says, I'm dying, but I'm not going to die in my easy chair. I'm going to die telling the message of the power that made life. I just start crying and I hugged him. I said, you're my inspiration, Reggie. Go, baby. Game face.
You know, which just reaffirms something I know about you, which is that chiropractic is a way of life for you. And I know there's something else that's a way of life for you, which is game face. So why is game face, what does it mean, and why is it a way of life?
Well, as you see here, inspiring personally and professionally, I want people to get their game face on. My game face story is pretty simple. But I've told millions, and I'm still blessed with people wear the game face wristband. You gotta have your head in the game and your game face on. When I was playing football, the preacher said one day, I have a problem with you. Make a long story short, 3 times he tried to say hi as I'm coming in leading the team, and I'm just like, you know, focused. And I said, I'm so sorry. He said, and then you go out there and just speak. I mean, just annihilate people. I said, it's game day. I said, I'm sorry, I have my game face on. He goes, what's game face? I used to grab this helmet here, okay, as you can see it. Oh, you can't see it much. And I'd grab it and I'd say, Danny, get your game face on. I'd grab your face mask. Game face, focus. And guess what? I won 5 games. We were second place. That's 2 games that I didn't play. All the kids, I separated my shoulders out. I came back 3 games later with the tape and throwing the ball. But I said, listen, you gotta get your head in the game. So we have 5 games. We're down within 2 minutes by like 3 points, 7 points. And I said, let's get your game face on. We go down and we win. It's all about between the ears. So, and I'm not talking about just profession. At home, if you're not getting hugs, that's why I say personally first. You're not getting hugs, you're getting tugs. You better take care of your home. Because if your home's all messed up, you can't go all positive on to heal people with all that negativity and strife in your life and those contradictions. Okay? Deal with that. All right? So every day in your home, in your family, get your game face on, get prepared. Because you've seen it in the football games. People come out, I forget who it was, doesn't matter. At the Super Bowl, they were going to easily kill them, and they were losing at halftime. Why? Because mentally they thought, we have it. There's no big deal. You see, people always say success is mainly showing up. Yes, that's part of it. But I say show up being prepared. If you're not prepared, you know, because people say, hey, good luck to you. When I went out, I was speaking before Deepak Chopra, it's kind of funny at Parker years ago. He goes, I go, good luck. I said, where preparation and opportunity meet, I'm going to be successful. If I'm prepared every day and I expected, God will project it, my game face on, and I'm laser focused, things will happen. But if I just exist through the day and go through it, not with my head in the game, guess what? I'm going to lose. Not only lose, but lose many opportunities to touch lives and to impact this world. So that's why I then, years down the road, my son said, him and his captains came and said, hey, Dad, what is about you that you were so successful? I still hold the records, many touchdowns. I still hold a bunch of records, and I go, well, it's about getting game face on. So what they did, that first game, they came, or Thursday night, Michael said, Dad, the guys are coming. Get pumped up, but I thought it's the 4 captains. The whole team starts pulling up. All these kids are there, and I go out and I look, and I go, they come out like, hi, like, you know, it's like, wait a minute, it's game. I'm more excited than them. I go, on the count of 3, I want you to say game face. I go, 1, 2, 3, game face, 1, 2, 3, game face, 1, 2, 3, game face. And these, watch the physiology. It went from this to like,
Yeah.
it's game day, baby.
Outstanding.
Doctors, if you ain't preparing yourself, got your game face on, no wonder miracles ain't happening. That's why miracles happens in Danny's practice and Michelle's, because they're into it 100%, mind, body, and soul. You just don't go there and like, hey, yeah, give me a pastrami on rides, you know. No, you focus present time consciousness on that person. You get your game face on. It's so important. You will win every time. You get that attitude, the belief, the commitment, drive. But people just kind of exist in life and think things are going to happen. Magic happens in the spine, right, Dr. Danny? When you're focused and you got your game face on.
And I got to tell you, we've had a lot of, if there's been a year that people needed to keep game face on, it's been 2020, for sure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, 2020 has been quite the distribution of instability into people's lives. For people to adapt to and to optimize their situation. What have you seen is important to keep game face going this year?
Okay, it's pretty simple. There are 80-20 rule. 20% of the people still were successful. They're still principle based. 80%, I'm so shocked to see the response on some of these people like, what are you doing? You know, that's your true colors coming out. But the thing is, here's the thing, and I'm finding this out big time because I'm doing coaching now, that you're not going to do those things that are tough by yourself. You need someone to push you to do those things so you can have what you want to have. You got to be the person so you can do those things so you can have them. But without a coach like Tony Robbins says, only 5% is going to succeed. 95% is going to fail. Just think out there, when the people go to do something tough, they're going to look and say, oh, I better wash the car, I better clean this up. You got to do those tough things. Successful people like you do those things that unsuccessful people are not willing to do. It's simple. So you have your nice your group there that you get pumped up. I'm going to be more involved with that. I have a group. Listen, you got to reach out. You got to have some direction, because what most people do is just ask this person, that person, which are not successful. You need successful people to make you successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I always find that the more I look for help, the better I do. The more I look for people to support me that I look up to, the better I do. When I think I've got it all on my own, I don't do as well. You know, and that might be my team, it might be mentors, it might be my family. But when I realize that it's not just all me, but I have this whole community around me, up, down, below, around me, then I do better. And I think that's one of the values of community and how we're interrelated and interdependent as compared to independent.
Right. Everybody says this one thing. They say, I go, what's the number one thing you need? They go, consistency. I said, do you have any, there's one key that makes that happen. Do you have any accountability? No. Without accountability, you can't have consistency. Not going to happen. And let me tell you, people, I just want to tell you a little side note on this gentleman. I know there's one thing in his life, it's a real simple thing, but I'm not going to mention it, that he knew that, wait, I'm asking my patients to do this, and I'm not doing this. It was a small thing, but when Danny started doing that, guess what? Boom, the practice took off. It's about like a year commitment, paying all up front. It's like, wait, if you can't do that in your own personal life, how do you expect the person to do that in your practice? And that's what I'll tell people too, Danny, when they want, what's this coaching going to do? How are you going to prove? I go, listen, what do you tell a patient? It is going to take time. You need to commit. And if you don't commit, then it's not going to work. What's your commitment level? And that's why number 3 is commit. but Dr. Danny walks his talk. If you're not walking your talk, you know, I have no respect for that, but I hope that I can help you change. Right now, I love congruent people, and nope, over there he is. And Dr. Danny is, and Rochelle are gems. They're family. I stay there. I'm in my boxers. We have good time. We're family. And I support him 100%.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And chiropractic, I mean, chiropractic requires you to be all in. I mean, you'll have, if you're not all in, you'll have partially in results, you know?
Yes. Right. Partial in, partial results. All in, big results.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. And you have to be all in to save lives. Change spines, lives, and minds with chiropractic. So, attitude, belief, commitment, and drive. Those are your 4. Tell us about that.
Okay, and that equals game face. Attitude. You got to have a positive attitude. Attitude of gratitude. Your attitude, not your aptitude, gives you your altitude in life. Okay? Your belief. Now, it's not really about much as the belief in chiropractic, which it is, don't get me wrong. But you got to start with the belief in you. If you don't believe in yourself, okay, so here's a simple analogy. If Dr. Danny believes 100% in chiropractic, but believes 50% in himself, and what percent tonality and stuff is he addressing that message? 50%. 50%. They don't, a lot of times, they buy the person as much as the message. But if I go, I remember I spoke at the assembly at Life, and I go, I'm here to pump you up. You feel my energy, feel passion. And then I put the shades on and said, hit it. We will rock you. That's what I'm talking about. And you know me, you've heard me before. All my belief systems and stuff, Patrick Temple says the best. Sometimes like squirrel, I'm like, you know, ADD. But they said, even though Dave doesn't finish half the sentences, the tone of his voice, you know that he means it. He means it. He owns it. He has a certainty, the compassion, and the conviction. The next one is then we need to have the commitment. All in, baby. All in. Like you said it perfectly. You're all in or you're not. And if you're not all in, don't expect great results. Okay? And the drive is, to me, is someone to continue to, the drive means consistently. I am driving. I'm not driven. Driven means you've driven and you're done. No. Drive every day that keeps me is get my game face on, you know, spiritual, I armor up in the Lord. I get prepared, baby, mentally, physically, spiritually. Because if I didn't have my helmet on and I had shoulder pads and all that, and I went out to play football, my head would get damaged. If I'm not equipped every day, and we failed to do that. I've seen Danny Knowles at 6 o'clock in the morning working out. He's getting his physical body, he's doing his affirmations.
6 o'clock? It was 5 o'clock today. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay, sorry. Well, okay. I think it was just because you had to do that run that day for the Boulder. I don't know. But so that's what the drive, what drives you? I'm like, well, I got great attitude. I believe I can do it. I'm committed. I'm all in, and I have the drive, and that gives me the drive to get my face on. So basically, those were the 4 things, the 4 pillars. And I'm telling you what, you have those. I've seen kids. Get this. I did a talk about attitude and belief. 3 years ago, my daughter in 4th grade class, in 31 years, right before they took their test at the end of the year, they had the highest scores. They performed the best ever. Why? Because I said, if you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you're right also. And some of you might say, oh, I've heard that blah, blah, you know, fluff. But I'm telling you what, it works. You know it works. I know it works.
Yeah, and I got to tell you something. It's so true, because what happens between the ears has more effect on your outcome than all the external things and whatever's the newest, you know, funnel hacking that you do. You got to hack what's going on between your ears first. You know, here's the thing I want to say. Now, you're known, one of the things that you're known for is spinal screenings. Now, I got to tell you, in today's day and age, today's world, lots of people are going in online. That's all online. We just did a screening this week. Even in COVID, we figured out ways to do it. And I have a friend of mine who has multiple practices in the UK, and I've done lots of training with him. And he said, you know, of all the things he does online, because he's known as an online marketer, he says still the thing that is there happens and makes the most effective is spinal screenings. He said, we do all kinds of online marketing, but like we can predict the income from spinal screenings and being there face to face with people. What can you say about your experience with that today?
Oh my gosh. People still are doing screenings during COVID. Yeah, the first month was crazy because everybody's, you know, but you still get out there and talk to people one-on-one. It's the most effective way. As long as I live, spinal screenings are still going to be the #1 thing. What cracks me up about spinal screenings, besides the COVID, is more people like yourself. I remember Donnie saying, oh, my stepson used all your stuff, got out did screenings, built a wonderful practice. And I know guys who do $1 million practices, just great practices. And you'll hear, no one sees the young guy coming out of school or girl, doesn't see, sees this chiropractor, what they did in the beginning. They were out there on the highways and byways, putting up screenings, working every weekend, at least 3 out of 4 weekends, and build their practice. It's the most cost-effective way. You build relationships, and hey, by the way, can you come do my company, do this talk, or I have a group, can you come speak? There's so many connections you can make because you're talking one-on-one. I don't care how old or young you are, one-on-one talking, doing spinal screenings is still effective. And some people are having their best weeks because people think, hey, what? I didn't know the immune system is impacted by chiropractic adjustments. Well, they say if you're healthier, you're less chance of getting COVID. Well, wow, great. So you got to keep planting seeds. And like my rapping goes, some seeds may grow and others may not. To keep planting seeds is what you taught. You win some, you lose some. You can't refuse them because God is a gardener and he will choose them. Don't stop planting the seeds, baby. That's what it is. You don't have a harvest? Well, you don't plant the seeds. You can't have a harvest without planting the seeds.
Yeah, absolutely. And I gotta tell you, what you just said, like people don't see the work before. When we had 2 practices. We practiced in South Carolina, now we practice in Colorado. I did outside screenings myself and Rochelle when we were in South Carolina. We didn't have the substation. I went and bought scales from the local, like, you know, Walmart or whatever it was. And I had people stand on that and felt their spine. And I gave out balloons. And we scheduled and signed up a bunch of people. In Colorado, when we moved here and we opened and knew no one and had nothing, we were at grocery stores every single week doing spinal screenings. My wife was pregnant and we did it every single week. And it's how we launched our practice, just by meeting people and people wanting to, anywhere we could be, we were, whatever it was. And now we train others to do that. Do we do online stuff? Yes, I do all kinds of online stuff. And people see us at the event, say, oh, we know you from online, right? Like they already know you that way and they trust you and then those work together. But you can't you have to be, it's the art of being everywhere.
Exactly. People have to hear things 6 times. First time, like, oh, that's crazy. Second time, that's crazy. But I kind of see it on third time. It's like, I see where you're going. Fourth time, like, let's make a lot more sense. Fifth time, like, tell me more. Sixth time, they do it. I was in Nairobi, get this, and on TV talking about chiropractic. Here's a good shirt. Look at this shirt. It says, oops, you can't see it. It says, healthy is the new wealthy.
That's true.
And I said, listen, we're going to do a screening. And we went out to this place, like a spa, golf course thing, and we set up in this tent in Nairobi. You saw many people wanted to get scanned and know about chiropractic in Nairobi.
No. And I guess what? Right now, where do you think people's minds are? What do they focus on in 2020? Probably even more than politics. They're focused on their own health and well-being, making sure they're healthy. Being healthy is newer leveled up as a priority in people's life. And guess what? They can't spend money elsewhere now. They can't travel. They can't eat out. So what do you think they're going to do? They'll spend money on their health, you know?
Exactly. That the glass is half full, not half empty. You know, you're exactly right. Oh my gosh. I mean, you and I, that's why if you don't have this energy now, here, one thing I want to say just came to my mind. If you kind of fell into that trap, forgive yourself. You know, it doesn't matter where you've been, it matters where you go from what you hear. You know, Danny's out there to help. I'm out there and I'm not here promoting. I'm very blessed. If you want to call me, I'll talk to you. We'll have a conversation. But you know what? I had a guy, we did a talk, Dave Fletcher and I one time, and what blessed my heart, and that's why Danny and I do these things, because you're worth it. A guy called me crying and said, I've been out of practice for a year. I heard you, he was just despondent and doing some kind of security thing. He said, you got me charged up, I'm going into practice because of you. Wow. So, hey, and we all need it out there, so if you need help, please call me or Danny or whatever, but I'm telling you what, the harvest is ready, but we need workers out there, we need laborers out there, and we need to say, hey, here I am, you know, I can turn on the power. You have stress in your life? Yeah, stress, mental, physical, chemical, causes subluxation. You're subluxated, you know? It's like, whoa, especially now that they're sitting around a lot and not working, or the stress and maybe the financial. But like you said, you sit down right now, that's a good point, Dr. Danny. Over here. You see how much you're not spending eating out, doing this, that. You're probably saving hundreds of dollars. But guess what? In our country, 80% of the healthcare dollars in each of our insurances is spent in the last 2 years of our life. Why? Because people wait and they get sick, and that's why they call it the golden years. No, I tell you what. You know, you got to be proactive. And I know, I mean, someone goes, you're 67? I'm almost 70, but I'm telling you what, you know, there's a lot of things I've invested years ago. Your decisions today impact your future tomorrow. And with the attitude, with having the Lord in my life, with chiropractic care, all those things, you know, it's like crazy that I look at people my age and think, what's going on? And they'll go like, well, you know, whatever. I go, hey, do you take vitamins? You get adjusted? You know, go to church? No, you don't have any of those things. I'm like, what's going on? But they just don't know. So I want to send love out to all of you that maybe you're struggling. You don't need to struggle. And you're only struggling because, like we used to say in Pat and I, the swamp up to your nose, you forget the plug. You need someone to pull the plug and let, you know, like, take a big breath, breathe, okay?
Yeah.
So,
hey, and also before we go, next thing, how do people get in touch with you? I know you have an online group, your website. Tell people how they get more from Dave Major.
Okay, that's very good. We usually forget, you know. I usually forget. So if you go to Inspire the Person, Impact the Profession, that's my group. But if you go to Dave Major Game Face, okay, .com, that is my website. But now my name is M-A-G-E-R. It's not M-A-J-O-R. It's M-A-G-E-R. In French, it's Major. I like that. Major. So DaveMajorGameface.com. Sorry. And then if you want to email me, it's just Gmail. So DaveMajorGameface@gmail.com. So go there, or you can call me at 330-889-7254. But I love you to join my group, see what I do. I'm posting things on about my stress, feeling versus function, how to communicate it. I feel that I'm very blessed being one of the good communicators of the scan and of chiropractic and working with staff. You know, I've done that with Dr. Danny.
So let me ask you this. Do you have any communication keys you'd like us to close out with? Communication formulas or keys or something that people can use in their office, you know, come in this week.
Okay. To come in this week, who?
No, coming in this upcoming week.
Coming this week. Yes. Number one, I want you to say, hey, Joe, tell me in like one sentence why you come here. And you know, because again, we can blab a lot of stuff, and if it's not hitting what they need, and he'll say, well, I could get my back cracked. you know, or whatever. And they might say, well, I'm not a doctor. Well, just in common layman's terms, why do you come here? Okay. And then why should you continue? The second question is, why should you continue to come here? That is the best way to see who your rock stars are, to see where, like, hey, you need a little bit more education. You're not going to say that. You say, well, that's good. Don't always condemn them at first. That's good, Danny, but boom. Like, for instance, so do that. Sorry, I'll stay focused here. So why do you come here, and why should you continue to come here? All right?
Yep.
And then you should then, I'll give you, let's see, I got so much, I'm trying to think of something good. Okay, who in your life do you know that is not under chiropractic care? No, sorry. Why should other people in your life come into the office here to see us? And let them, you know, and here's the biggest thing. Okay, I'm on it now. Well, they feel okay. One of the biggest things is the feeling versus function. You have that. It's like, do you realize if you had a problem, 90% of the time you don't know about it, so there's 60% damage. Okay? That's a study. By the time there's 60% damage. So I feel it's a percentage thing. If you have 20%, occasional pain, 40%, well, it's getting a little more. By the time you really have a serious problem, so do you want to wait like that? So basically, you're going to say three things. Number one, why are you coming here? Why should you keep coming? And then, you know anybody that should come visit us? And again, when they say, whatever they say, and they'll probably say, well, they don't feel as bad as I do. I know that it's generally the number one thing. And you say, well, when does somebody come in? When they're really, really sick, or before they get sick? You know. But the thing is, just like this COVID thing of saying they're tested, they're asymptomatic, but they still have the problem. It's like a lot of people don't realize what is, you know, the feeling versus function. If you can drive home this week, it's not how you feel. Is how your body's functioning. That is a huge thing. So number one, you need to know why they're coming, why they should continue to come, and then the feeling versus function. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you for chiropractic. I want to thank you, like Reggie said, about how many lives you've impacted. People don't realize a very famous person said this: you never know how far-reaching something you do say or today will affect the lives of millions tomorrow, and you have lived that. So I really want to thank you for the millions of lives that you've impacted. I know through my office alone, you've impacted thousands of lives. So I cannot emphasize enough how wonderful and how helpful Dave Major is to our chiropractic team. And more importantly, to the community that the chiropractic team is serving through. So thank you for that. And thank you for being a speaker at Mile High this past year. And, hey, I got to tell you, people, hook up with Dave Major. Hook up and learn more about him, or should we say Dave Major?
Major, oui. So I'm sorry, kind of rambled there. I was just like, I'm getting so excited. You asked me to say something like that, but again, I think you'll be very, very happy.
Yep. Good. Well, we look forward to seeing you the next time we see you. I'm sure we're going to have you out twice in 2021. I'd recommend other people do that as well, and help and check him out for his coaching and mentoring. Dave is really just an incredible source of wisdom. And thank you for tuning in to the Mile High podcast. Remember to hit subscribe so you never miss any Mile High tick. And most importantly, you join us at Mile High 2021, June. It's coming early this year, okay? Sometimes Christmas is coming early, right? So Mile High is coming early this year.
All right, sounds good. Well, we got to end with the 1, 2, 3 game face, both you and me.
Okay, let's do that.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Game face.
Game face. There you go. All right.
All right.